each and every individual to Legacy Partners and Leverage, the magical arts of positive motivation and manipulation. Hi, my name is Mark Boersma, along with Tom Kuntz today, and we are in for a very interesting time. When we look at Lesson 1 questions, questions give us the opportunity to leverage because it demonstrates when we ask a question, it demonstrates that we're interested in learning, that we're not arrogant, we don't know everything. And so often we come in and tell people what needs to happen, and that doesn't go so well. But when we ask the right questions, it opens up the hearts and the mind. You know, have you ever thought of this? So one of the things that I'm learning so much about leverage is how I've used leverage over the years and didn't even recognize I was using it. I mean, I didn't even know I was using leverage, and I was using leverage. And so we were talking in the pre-show a little bit about, you know, the state of the world, the state of the U.S., and my second youngest son, he had a friend that was really, you know, very big, very strong in Hillary, interested in that, you know, wanted her to be president, very strong Democrat, very strong, you know, this is what it was. And it's interesting because I asked him a question, and I said, you know, you're a young man, and he said yes. And I said, and you know, think everyone ought to have, you know, health insurance given to them? And he said yes. I said, so I'm totally in favor of that. I mean, I think that's the coolest thing in the world. Because, you know, I'm in my 50s, you're in your late teens. Who do you think's going to be paying for all of this? And he paused and he said, I don't really know. I said, well, you're going to be paying for my insurance because you're going to have less things going. So the young male is going to pay for everybody else's insurance. And he said, I never thought of that before. And so when we look at leverage and asking questions, you know, what is our intention? And often people misinterpret our intentions, and we're not helping them to see certain types of things. Now, one of the things that I am baffled by is how difficult it seems for people to do the lesson. And that's something we're going to be talking about today, is most people don't know that there's 1,440 minutes in a day, there's 10,080 minutes in a week. And if we want to have an abundance of time, we need to think about time in a different way. Like, we have to think there's 1,440 minutes every day. There's 10,080 minutes in every week. And so if we don't put the time into doing the lessons, then we're not going to gain the benefit of leverage. So we have to invest something. We don't get a return until we go ahead and make the investment. So we have to make the investment first. Now, what creeps into our thinking is I'm really busy. I'm really smart. I'm really important. And I think as we get older, it might be harder and harder to combat that. I mean, I've been working since I was, 12, 13 years old, you know, selling stuff and doing paper routes and all this other types of things. And I'm like 54, and I'm like, you know what? I deserve to kick it back a little bit. You know, I deserve this and this. So I'm finding I've never fought with entitlement, and now I'm seeing everybody else have this. So I don't know how, Peter and Tom, to approach people in a gentle way to go ahead and say, listen, you think you're mentally tough, you think you're mentally strong, but you're really not, especially white males over 50. They seem to be the ones that I vaporize the most. Tom, any thoughts, insights on that?
Well, I definitely qualify for that group, but I don't know that you've ever vaporize me. You've stumped me a few times. But yeah, I mean, this whole process of asking questions, especially if you're in any kind of a sales position, that's what it's all about. It isn't about pushing your product. It's about making sure you're asking the right questions that will get your candidate to understand that there may be an issue that you may be able to solve for them.
Right. Peter, your thoughts?
Yeah, look, I think it's all about priorities, just showing up. So when you talk about white males over 50, I think if somebody's just showing up because they're interested, but they haven't yet figured out what it is they want to accomplish out of what it is they show up at. It could be a training program, it could be a business meeting, it could be anything. If you're just showing up and you're not trying to get something out of it, you're not trying to solve some obstacle that's in your path, or you don't know where you're trying to get to in your participation, then you don't put the work in. You don't engage. You don't ask the right questions. You don't get anywhere, and you don't get anything out of it. So, look, I think the way you described, I've also been working since I don't know, 10 years old or something. And what gets harder, I think, for everybody is all this congestion with your time, that it's not prioritized. You're not thinking about what you want to get out of the time you're spending. And when you do that, you don't participate, you don't engage, you just show up. But then you get nothing out of it. You don't sell anything. You don't inspire anybody else. You don't move closer to your goals because you may not have set what you want to get out of whatever it is you're spending your time doing.
All right, we're going to go.
Not a word, but that is the missing link.
So we're going to go into the Q&A here. I hope you all are struggling as much as I'm struggling in leverage. I've taught a lot of courses in my life, and I've never had a course. Well, there was one course that I struggled with, but this course has been, man, it's really been a challenge. So here's our 5-second pause. We're going to go into the Q&A. Here we go.